Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Remember, if you enjoy the video, make sure to like and subscribe. My goal is to reach 500 subs this year so I can monetize my content. Without further ado, let's get into it. Fallout 3's The Pit DLC is set in post-war Pittsburgh, a city in ruins plagued by slavery and a mysterious conflict. The main quest in this DLC is focused on helping the workers, in quotes, obtain the secretive cure to the troglodyte degeneration contagion, or TDC, which affects almost each and every single inhabitant of the pit. Until the very end of the quest, you are not told what will cure this disease, which creates a little bit of a dark turn towards the end of this DLC. At the beginning of this quest, you will meet a man named Werner, who will tell you about the plight of his people. If you decide to help him, you will infiltrate the pit and meet a woman named Medea, who will give you instructions on how to advance further in your objectives. After completing her quest, you will finally proceed to fight in the arena, which, if you win, will allow you to finally meet the head honcho of this raider nation, Lord Asher. At this point of the story, you will be given two choices: either continue helping the workers, in quotes, or turn on them and start to help Lord Asher instead. Both choices have almost no consequences for the player, but I personally help Werner almost each and every single time that I play through this DLC. But any choice you will make has a darker side. If you continue aiding Werner, you will have to kidnap Lord Asher's only child and wipe out anyone who stands in your way. However, if you do not help Werner, the workers, in quotes, will never be free. That was a little depressing, but one thing I do want to talk about instead is the atmosphere that the Pit DLC kind of brings with it. One thing that you will notice in this DLC is that, yes, you do get to play in a larger city, which is normal for this game. The main story is set around DC, which is the capital of this nation. Very massive city, tightly packed. However, this city that the DLC is set in, Pittsburgh, has a lot of industrial smog, which adds a whole new element to the gameplay and atmosphere of this DLC. And in my opinion, I think that it makes things very unique compared to the other DLCs in this game. That's something that we've touched on in previous videos. I just wanted to bring that up in this specific context for this DLC, because I think that it does make things totally different when comparing this DLC to the others. Along with the scenery, this DLC adds a total of 4 new enemies that you'll face. Going down the list, we have the Trogs, which is a mutated human that crawls on all fours and tries to eat their victims. We have the Wildmen that's been driven insane by the TDC, as previously mentioned, on their way to becoming Trogs. Ultimately, they will not help the player. They just want to kill anything in sight. The Pit Raiders, which fall under the control of Asher, as shown on screen. And then we have the Slave Fighters, which you can choose to work with in this DLC, or you can choose to turn against them. One little bit of criticism I do have about this DLC is that a lot of the unique items that you can get through this DLC, you have to find the steel ingots for, which can be found in the scrapyard. It's very time consuming, very buggy. I personally tracked down all 100 of them, and it still said that I only had 96 by the time I was finished. The counter sometimes bugs out. You can also have issues with the floor falling through on one of the roofs of the buildings that you have to go up. It's something new that they introduced, but it's ultimately something that I believe we could have done without. Wasn't my favorite thing, but I do believe that the things that they gave you in return for finding all 100 of those ingots more than paid off. In the end, it was worth it, but it's not something that I wanted to do. It's just something I had to do to get those items. One thing this DLC does do, it makes you strategize about how you're going to engage with each enemy. especially before you complete finding all 100 of the steel ingots in the scrapyard. You have a very, very, very low supply of weapons. There's only a total of 1 melee weapon that you can get your hands on, along with, I believe, 2 or 3 conventional weapons that you can find while in the scrapyard. It's something that you have to put a lot of thought into before you engage an enemy, because there's not a whole lot of ammo, and there's also not a whole lot of options. You have to pick and choose which battles you fight. It's the closest thing you could compare it to is survival mode in Fallout 4 or hardcore mode in Fallout New Vegas. There's 3 new perks introduced with this DLC, the first of which you will receive is Auto Axe Perk, which you will receive once you collect 10 steel ingots from the Pit's Steel Yard, which gives you a plus 25% damage when using any of the auto axes, which includes the Man Opener or the Mauler, which are unique weapons found within this DLC. The Booster Shot, which you will receive once you complete the quest Free Labor, which gives you radiation resistance plus 10%, and Pit Fighter, which you will receive once you complete the whole battles, which you will receive radiation resistance plus 3% and damage resistance plus 3%. Very good perks. I, however, found them to be a little lackluster, but in the end, they do help you a lot during this DLC. The next thing I want to cover is the unique weapons and armors we can find in this DLC. There is a total of 4 melee weapons and 3 or 4 ranged weapons you can find in this DLC, and we'll go over the armor that you can get in this DLC later. First, I do want to start with the weapons. So first we'll start off with the Auto Axe, which you can get at the beginning of this DLC from a character named Marco. This is related to a quest. You will get this weapon no matter what. This weapon does a total of 35 base damage. Next you have the Man Opener, which is a unique variant of this weapon. The only thing that it does differently from this auto axe is that it ignores armor, including power armor, and does a base damage of 35. Then we have the Steel Saw, which is a weaker but more durable version of the auto axe that can be found only on certain slaves / workers. This does a base damage of 16. And then you have the Mauler, a unique variant that is less durable but deals higher base damage than standard variants. It does a whopping 45 damage per hit. Next, we have the Steel Knuckles, which is a variant of the Brass Knuckles found in the base game. This can only be obtained by turning in 30 steel ingots to Everett during the Mill Worker quest. These Steel Knuckles do a base damage of 9 compared to the 6 of regular Brass Knuckles. They're on par with the spiked knuckles that you can find in the regular game. Up next we have the Infiltrator and Perforator. So first we have the Infiltrator, which does a whopping 7 damage. It is a suppressed scoped assault rifle, which you won't see any footage of me using because the textures on these weapons was so glitched. And we have the Perforator, which does a 10 base damage. It's the same as the last one. They both are modeled the exact same, but I'm not seeing anything that they do differently than the regular version. The only thing I am seeing is that it offers higher damage but a slower fire rate than the regular assault rifle in the game. Next we have the Metal Blaster, which compared to a regular laser rifle found in Fallout 3 is very sweet. Fires a total of 9 separate laser beams, which only takes 1 microfusion cell per shot. This gun acts as a shotgun laser rifle of sorts. It deals a whopping 839 damage if all beams connect with a target. However, this weapon does have significantly lower amounts of durability than a regular laser rifle, only having 455 shots before it breaks, or about 19 reloads from full condition. That's 631 fewer than a regular laser rifle. Unfortunately, I don't have the time to cover all the armors, but here's the two main ones. First, we have Asher's Power Armor, which gives a +1 to luck, +1 to charisma, +1 to strength, -1 to agility, and +10 to radiation resistance. Has a damage resistance of 40 and an HP of 1000. You can repair this with any set of T45D power armor. Then we have the Tribal Power Armor, which gives a +1 to luck, +1 to strength, -1 to agility, +15 to AP, and +5 to melee weapons. This one has a 35 damage resistance and 1000 HP. Unfortunately, I have run out of time, guys. If you like the video, remember to like and subscribe. And as always, thank you guys for watching.